What if a small electric car could give you up to 510 kilometers of claimed range, a 2.5K display? Snapdragon 8295 power, and even LiDAR-assisted driving technology. While starting at just 63900 yuan in China, that is exactly why the 2026 Leapmotor A05S is getting so much attention. But there's one catch that could completely change whether you should buy it. My quick verdict: if you're a first-time buyer or an urban driver looking for maximum technology without spending big money, the A05S looks extremely hard to ignore. But before you call it a bargain, let's see what you actually get for the money, and whether the higher trims are worth paying for. The first thing that grabs your attention is the design. The A05S is officially a compact 5-door EV, but in China, cars in this shape are often marketed as sedans. And honestly, it looks much more expensive than its position in the market suggests. Up front, you get a closed-off EV face with slim headlights and distinctive 3-segment daytime running lights. The hood has sculpted lines, while the semi-hidden door handles and blacked-out pillars give the side profile a cleaner, more aerodynamic look. And then there's the detail that instantly tells you this isn't an ordinary budget EV. That LiDAR unit sitting on the roof. It gives the A05S a technology-first identity that most cars in this price class simply don't have. At around 4.2 meters long, 1.8 meters wide, and with a 2.605 meter wheelbase, it stays compact enough for crowded city streets while still offering a surprisingly useful footprint. But the exterior is only the beginning, because the cabin is where Leapmotor starts playing a much bigger game. Step inside, and the A05S immediately feels more modern than its price suggests. The dashboard is clean and minimalist, with a 2-spoke steering wheel, digital driver display, and a large floating central touchscreen. The technology is particularly impressive. The A05 uses Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8295 cockpit processor and a 14.6-inch 2.5K central display, giving the infotainment system the kind of hardware you normally expect in considerably more expensive cars. There's also wireless phone charging, ambient lighting, smart connectivity, and depending on the version, a seriously impressive audio setup. The cabin can even be specified with suede-like materials, while the A05S Special Edition gets a much more distinctive pink and black theme. And this is where I'd pause before choosing a trim. The basic car gives you the affordable EV formula, but the higher versions are where the A05S starts turning into a technology showcase. We'll come back to that in a moment. For everyday buyers, the important question is simple: does all this technology actually make the car better to drive? The A05S comes with 2 front-mounted electric motor options. The entry version produces around 70 kilowatts, or about 95 horsepower, while the stronger version makes 90 kilowatts, or roughly 122 horsepower. Those numbers won't make this a sports car, and that's not really the point. This is an urban EV designed around easy maneuverability, low running costs, and stress-free daily driving. The smaller battery is 39.8 kWh and gives a claimed 405 kilometers of CLTC range. The bigger 53 kWh battery raises the claimed figure to 510 kilometers. Now remember, CLTC numbers are optimistic compared with real-world driving, so you shouldn't expect to drive 510 kilometers in every situation. But even after allowing for real-world conditions, the larger battery makes the A05S much more attractive for people who want fewer charging stops. And there's another surprise. The 53 kW version supports 2.5C fast charging, with Leapmotor claiming a 30 to 80% charge in about 16 minutes. That could make a huge difference if you regularly use fast chargers. So far, this little EV sounds almost too good for its price. But now we get to the feature that could completely change the buying decision. On selected versions, the A05S can use roof-mounted LiDAR hardware for advanced driver assistance functions, including navigation-assisted driving and sophisticated parking assistance. Think about that for a second. We're talking about an entry-level electric hatchback competing around the lower end of the Chinese EV market. Yet, it can bring hardware that was once associated with premium luxury cars. But here's the important part. Don't confuse driver assistance with autonomous driving. The driver still has to pay attention and remain responsible for the vehicle at all times. And the LiDAR-equipped technology is not available across every trim. That means the A05S has a very interesting strategy. Leapmotor gives you an affordable basic EV, then lets higher versions add the expensive technology. So the real question becomes, how much should you spend? In China, the A05 launched with 5 variants priced from 63900 to 93900 yuan. That puts it firmly into the budget EV category. And that's where its biggest competition comes in. Cars like the BYD Dolphin and Geely Xingyuan. These are exactly the kinds of vehicles shoppers are likely to cross-shop with the A05S. The Leapmotor's advantage is its technology package. The combination of a large 2.5K screen, powerful Snapdragon cockpit hardware, up to 510 km CLTC range, fast charging on the larger battery, and available LiDAR makes the A05 extremely aggressive on paper, but there is a catch. Chinese domestic pricing does not automatically translate into overseas pricing. Taxes, shipping, homologation, dealer costs, and local equipment can push the final price significantly higher. So, if you're watching this outside China, don't assume the 63,900 yuan figure will be your local showroom price. And that's probably the single most important thing to remember about this car. For a young first-time buyer, the A05S makes a lot of sense. It's compact, easy to maneuver, packed with technology, and offers enough range to make daily driving simple. For families, however, I'd look carefully at your space requirements before buying. This isn't a large SUV, and if you regularly carry 5 adults plus luggage, a bigger model like Leapmotor's A10 may make more sense. And for enthusiasts, the A05S isn't about blistering acceleration. Its appeal is smarter technology, efficiency, and clever packaging rather than raw performance. That's actually what makes this car interesting. It isn't trying to be the fastest or biggest, it's trying to give ordinary buyers technology that used to be reserved for much more expensive cars. So, should you buy the 2026 Leapmotor A05S? If you want an affordable city EV with strong range, a modern cabin, fast charging on the larger battery, and technology that makes competitors nervous, absolutely put it on your shortlist. The biggest positives are its value, range options, digital technology, compact size, and available LiDAR-assisted driving hardware. The biggest negatives are the modest power output, the difference between claimed and real-world range, and the fact that international pricing and availability can change the value equation dramatically. Cut. And personally, I think the higher-spec version is the one that makes the A05S truly interesting. Because that's where this little EV stops looking like a cheap commuter and starts looking like a genuinely advanced car. If you're a first-time EV buyer, would you choose the Leapmotor A05S over a BYD Dolphin or Geely Xingyuan? Let me know in the comments. And if this car isn't quite right for you, stay on the end screen. I've also got the BYD Dolphin comparison coming up, where we'll see which affordable EV actually gives you more for your money.